to do your Unit 8 fractions target check. Now, this is an important lesson because if you are not on target, then the test will be very hard for you. So we want to make sure that we are reaching out to help you. This target check will tell us if you need more help doing fractions. And fractions can be very difficult for some people, so don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. On target number 1, which is down here, you will see that there are pictures. This hopefully is easy for you because target number 1 should be a review. Remember, when you fill out the top number, it's how many are shaded. And the denominator, the bottom number, is how many total are there. This learning target should be very easy for everybody. Now we're going on to learning target number 2, which is filling numbers into a number line. So under here, I have a problem for you that is not the same as the problems over here, but it's going to give you an idea of how to do them. So if I look here at this circle up here, I can see that 2 are shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the fraction for what is shaded is 2/8. If I do that same thing on a number line, it would look like this. On a number line, I count the spaces, not the lines, the spaces, just like I counted up here. So down here it would look like this. I count the spaces between 0 and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. So if I'm going to write the fractions here, this space here is 0 out of 8. I can make that as a fraction or I can keep it as 0. The first fraction is 1 out of 8. 2/8. When I get here, this is 1 whole, or 8 out of 8 pieces, which tells us 1 whole. Now there is one in here that is half. If I go halfway or the middle of this one, I could find half. 4 is half of 8, so this one could also be half. 4/8 and 1/2 are equivalent or equal fractions. So that is a way to do it on a number line. The number line is the same as the circle. You just have to remember to count the spaces, not the lines. You count how many equal spaces there are between 0 and 1, and you will get it. Now, target number 3 is comparing fractions. Mrs. Murfeld has taught you the butterfly trick. So I can compare any fractions by using the butterfly trick. Number 3, you'll need a piece of paper before you do it on your Google Forms because you're going to want to figure it out. I'm just going to do one that's not on the target check just to review the butterfly trick with you. So if I take a fraction like, I don't know, 3/4, and let's say 5/6. And I want to know which one is greater or bigger. I use the butterfly trick. It goes like this. 6 times 3 is 18. Then I go 4 times 5 equals 20. This right here shows me times, that I was doing times, and this right here represents my butterfly. And I can see that 5/6 is greater than 3/4. When you compare on your target check for number 3, you will do exactly this. Now, some of you, when you're comparing to a half, will automatically know. Because if I am comparing anything to a half, and I get something here like 4/6. Well, I should be able to do this one in my head because I know that half of 6 is 3 and 4 is bigger than 3. So that means that this one is greater. I could do that one in my head. Some of these you'll be able to do in your head. Other ones you will need to work out using the butterfly trick. All right? Now, learning target number 4 are easy for some people who are good visualizers and harder for people like me who are not very good visualizers. I am going to do a problem that is on one of your worksheets that we had in there. It is not the same one as your learning target, but it is the same idea. Okay, so I'm going to write right on this sheet of paper. The first thing I'm going to think is, how can I visualize this first box? This whole shape is the whole. So if I take just this box, how many of just this box could I fit in my whole shape? Well, if I'm a good visualizer, I can say this shape would fit in here 1, 2, 3. There would be 4 of those in here. It could be 3 other times, which would give me 4 parts. And so I would be able to say this part right here is 1/4, and this one is 1/4. Now I'm going to go on to the next smallest one, or the next largest one, which is here. If I were to take this square, just this size, and think how many of these squares could I fit in this whole shape? I'm going to go 1 would fit here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could fit 8 of those squares on here. So if I'm just looking at that size square, I could say this is 1/8. This is 1/8, because I could fit 8 of these squares in here. Look at, if I split this one up, it was 1/4. Now each of them is 1/8 and 1/8, 2/8, and which I said was 1/4, are equivalent fractions. Okay, now I have my smallest piece left. How many of just this small piece could I fit in this entire thing? Well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4. If I could fit 4 here, I could fit 4 here. That's 8. I could fit another 4 here. 9, 10, 11, 12. And another 4 here. 13, 14, 15, 16. I'd get 16 equal pieces if I'm just looking at this size. That means that all the pieces this side are 1/16. 1/16. 1/16. The last one is 1/16 also. Now, if I look at this, and I'm a good thinker, I could think, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/16 is going to be equivalent, if we looked at this whole piece not cut, but just the same size as the first one, 4/16 and 1/4. Are equivalent fractions. Look at, if I think of these two, all 4 of these put together, this is 1/4 or 4/16. And I look at it here, 1/8, 2/8. Look the way that looks. 2/8 and 1/4 are equivalent fractions. Okay? That one you have to visualize through. That one you have to make equal parts. To be able to write a fraction, you have to have equal parts. So if you see a circle and it's not equal, you have to visualize equal parts. Right. That was learning target number 4. I'm going to go back to the last learning target that I accidentally skipped. Oops. That one is putting the fractions in order from smallest to largest. That one is right here. It's a little hard to see. When you have more than one fraction, what you want to do is compare them to a half. What fractions are more than a half? Which ones are less than a half? Because half is easy to figure out. Once you have that, then the ones that are more than a half, you put up against each other. They're going to fight against each other and who is greater. And we know we can compare fractions by using the butterfly trick. So that would look like this. You have 1/8, you have 3/4, you have 1/2, you have 7/8. I could look at these 4 fractions and say, okay, half of 8 is 4. So this one is less than a half. This one, half of 4 is 2. And this one has more than 2. So this one is more than a half. Half is half. This one is less than a half. This one is more than a half. So I'm going to go to 7/8. Half of 8 is 4. This one is 7. This one is more than a half. Now look, I only have one fraction that is less than a half, and I have 2 fractions that are more than a half. So when you do this target check, if I am putting them from smallest to largest, I automatically know this one is the first one. This is the smallest. Then this one is next. 1/2. Now these two can have a fight. Say who is bigger. And you can do that by timesing these numbers and doing the butterfly trick. See if you can finish that one. Now, 3rd graders, you are going to make sure that when you do this, you are doing it in your Google Forms if you have a girl teacher. If you have a boy teacher, they're only using CSAB, but Mrs. Rabe, Mrs. Johnson, and Mrs. Murfeld, we are all using Google Forms. We can give you immediately feedback on what you need help with. So today, take your time, do your target check. Know that if you don't know how to do one of these, it is okay to email us or to write a private comment to tell us you need help with those. All right? Thank you, 3rd graders, and I hope your target check goes well and you are on target.